Oh, what? Who? No, it's gone again. It's gone again. It's gone again. It's gone again. Hang on. No, it's gone again. It's gone again. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Ah, that's better. Hello, what ho and welcome. That's fluffed up already. What ho and welcome to the very first, technically fraught episode of Jack's Off on a Plane With. And today, we are off on a plane with Uncle Sal from Off of the Oddballs Show. Uncle Sal from Off of the Oddballs Show. Why can I hear myself? Hang on, this is good. This is good. You see, we had this idea to not get a proper guest on the first one because it would all go wrong. We needed, So we booked you. We booked you. Hello, that'll work. We booked you. Hello. Yeah. Oh no. We didn't book Stephen. Hello. Right. Hello. Right. Oh, well, we're off on a plane. The wonderful thing about flying is you never know who you're going to be sat next to. But today we do. We're next to Uncle Sal. Oh, hello. Okay. Yeah. Fast. Sorry, I just got to fasten my seatbelt here. Do you like flying, Sal? Okay, yeah. Sorry, I just got to fasten my seatbelt here. Do you like flying, Sal? Oh, so that's sort of like a... Oh, apparently we can't hear you. Hang on. Oh, so that's sort of like a... this is excellent. This is perfect. This is excellent. Oh, hello. Perfect.
How funny would it be if I just moved my mouth continuously?
Yeah, that's it now. That's it.
Yeah,
that's all you
I'm
need to do.
not even gonna talk. I'm just gonna move my mouth so it sounds like they're really missing out.
We can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Ah, damn it. They know. The jig is up.
Yeah.
I've been found out.
Damn it all.
They know. The jig is up. I've been found out.
Hang on. I just want to get comfortable. Because that's the important thing. This
Yeah.
is a 2-hour flight. We've got to get comfortable.
Yeah, when trying to figure out what background I was gonna go with, I decided to put myself in the middle seat. I feel like I'm a middle seat guy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want the power of the end seat who can decide whether you get to pee or not, but I also don't want the submissive nature of the window seat individual who has to ask 2 other people if they can pee. So I feel like the middle seat is a good level of you have control over window seat man, but you still have to stay humble because of aisle seat man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you were saying you've only flown twice before?
Yes, I flew once in, I believe it was 73? 73? It was either 73 or late 72, I don't remember. But I was blindfolded for that one, so that was more of a roller coaster experience.
Yeah.
Where you just kind of feel the ups and the downs and the ups and the downs. So and I do distinctly remember at one point they sharp banked, and because I remember I was pressed up against the guy next to me. And I have been on a helicopter. I went down to Myrtle Beach, went down to Myrtle Beach, and they have those little tours where you can take the helicopters up and fly around, and he'll be like, that's where the heroin addicts are. It's Myrtle Beach. It's not a great area. And they were like, that's where low-income tourists come to buy cheap knickknacks. And I was like, oh, this is a bad tour. I should not have. I should not have. But I do remember the pilot was drinking out of a brown paper bag the entire time.
Yeah.
I was on that,
yeah.
and I was like, "There's nothing more Myrtle Beach than this."
There's in your posh flights, your posh sort of long haul flights, the pilots are allowed to drink because by the time they basically they just got to get the thing in the air and then land again. But actually, there's time enough to sober up before you actually land.
I need to become a pilot.
Yeah. The only rule is that they're not allowed to drink at the bar because it unsettles the passengers.
I'm sure there's a lot of rules they have.
Yeah.
Where they're like, look, we don't need the passenger. Like they probably do they have their own bathroom, or are they allowed to just like walk to the back of the plane and be like, I'm peeing, nobody's up there flying right now, don't worry about it. What are the rules for using the restroom as a pilot?
Yeah, we're getting the safety announcements up at the moment. By the way, is it just to the people who are tuning in on Twitch? Are you getting like mad reverb? Because I am. It's very off-putting, and I don't know where it's coming in. But yeah, yes, cool reverb. Oh, it's cool reverb apparently. Okay.
Oh, as long as it's cool reverb.
Yeah, I really don't understand why it's happening.
Not that reverb crap we got over at the Oddball Show. We got that loser reverb over at the Oddball
Show. I'm baffled. I'm baffled by it. Truly baffled. Okay, well that's a problem for another day. Is reverbs from the game sound but not voices? Oh, that's something. That's something. I wonder if it's no, it shouldn't be leaking from your end. I'm certainly not leaking from my end. I don't know.
Another caper to be. Is this a murder mystery flight now? Do we get to like? Is there going to be like somebody who comes up and is like in aisle 3? You'll find a note.
Okay, I've done something experimental.
Ooh, taking me back to my college days. What are we doing?
Yeah, it's all right. I've just cut the audio's coming in from somewhere from the game, so I've killed it on the capture card audio. Yeah, just technical, getting technical there. No, I can still, I'm still reverbing myself, but that's fine. That's fine.
They dress flight attendants like dorks.
All games sound. This is brilliant. This is why we do technical tests.
The dress code for air stewardesses seems to be the original outfit of Fred from the Scooby-Doo series.
Yeah, he's good. I feel like these are independent game developers that have just been asked in to do it. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's who they are. This is a real flight, obviously. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, where? Okay, so where are you going on this flight? Where is your destination? If you're on a plane with me right now, which we are, wing nuts.
Yeah, definitely.
Where do these wheels touch down? Where do we recover the black box? You know what I mean? Where we go?
I believe we're either going to Nova Scotia or JFK. I'm not sure.
Nova Scotia, JFK.
Yeah, I forget which way we're going now. You do these flights so often, you know, but they all sort of you forget where you are. It's like
yeah.
It's like it's like being on tour with Steely Dan.
I've not heard a Steely Dan reference in a hot minute. I think the last time I heard a Steely Dan reference was the critically acclaimed A-Team movie starring such characters as Quentin the Rampage Jackson.
Yeah.
And Liam Neeson.
Mel Gibson.
Was Mel Gibson in that?
I think he was supposed to be, wasn't he? I think that might have been before all of the sugar TITS situation and the anti-SEMITISM thing. But don't quote me. Don't quote me.
Oh man, you really forget he did all that.
Yeah. Right. I think I'm gonna have to do something dramatical.
Oh, dramatic is my middle name.
Sorry about this.
I like it.
Okay, hang on then.
I know why they can hear the reverb.
Oh, tell me.
Discord.
Yeah, it's gonna be Discord. Oh, that's garish. Yeah, it's gonna be Discord. Hang on.
I just realized that you can mute it for you though.
Yeah, I have. This is the thing that I'm confusing myself.
Oh, well, now I'm... All right, well, disregard. Now I'm definitely confused and probably more useless than helpful. Disregard.
It's muted here.
I agree with that. Fred was a style icon. However, I feel like Velma is heavily overlooked. Velma, I would say, single-handedly created some of the hottest fashion trends of the mid-2000s and late 2000s. I think we owe almost entirely to the Hex Girls. Now, like late 2010s, like, mid 2015, I don't know who we blame for that. I don't know who's at fault, but it wasn't anyone for the Scooby-Doo crew. I know that much.
Yeah. I've frozen now as well, just to add to our woe. This is brilliant. I'm very pleased with how this is going. Hang on. Let's just. I've got another scene here. Let's go to it. Oh, it's gone. Oh, that should be.
Did you minimize Discord?
Yeah, there we go. Good.
Return.
Right. So, and they were like, okay, since we can't get Mel Gibson anymore, we might as well not whitewash. What? What's happening?
I don't know. I was talking about Scooby-Doo fashion. I'm a little lost as well.
I think they're suggesting that Mel Gibson was supposed to play B.A. Baracus. I'm not 100% sure that's true.
B. Baracus. That is the one character that cannot be Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Literally anyone else in the entire A-Team lineup is fair game. But they were like, who Mel Gibson would just nail? Mr. T. If there is one person that I think is well within Mel Gibson's acting range.
I like that film that he did where he played the gardener with the learning difficulties. That was a good film.
I have no recollection of this film.
Ah, yeah, it was very early on in his career. I think he peaked. Then. Maybe Mad Max.
Mad Max is really good.
Yeah.
Now the issue is that in the Mad Max films, I have a hard time identifying with Max, but I am immediately able to identify with a bunch of BDSM-clad weirdos in the middle of the desert. So I don't know what that says about me, but I was very behind their cause the entire movie, and very upset when Mad Max seemed to put them in the ground.
I think we're gonna have to sort this sound issue out. We're only 13 minutes into the flight. But I'm finding it very difficult to work out whether this is past or present. So,
I'd argue that as long as the plane is still on the ground, none of this counts. Now, I will say the second we're in the air, I'm taking notes, but
this is going to take a minute. This is not even lifted off yet. I know. We'll wait till we're airborne, because that's the exciting bit, isn't it, of a flight? That little kick in the stomach. And then we'll see.
I remember when I landed from the helicopter, my ears hurt, and I didn't understand why. And so the guy was like, well, don't worry there, little guy. Here's what you do. you plug your nose with your fingers and you blow out your nose real hard.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, great idea. I think I busted my eardrums because I was in excruciating pain as I basically sneezed into my fingers
Yeah.
and blew my eardrums.
Did you get compensation for that?
No. By then he was like, ha ha ha, you shouldn't do it that hard. And I was like, that
Oh,
was
yeah. Useful information. Before.
Yeah.
Before, really. It's got Cheryl Ladd in it. What? Chat's getting away with itself. Hang on. What's the sci-fi film where they travel back in time and save people from crashing airplanes and take them to the future? Oh, that's a film. That's a film. Yeah. You see, what it is, Sal, is in the future, humanity's population has been devastated, and they need a bit of a kickstart. So they think, I know what we'll do. We'll invent time travel. But they realise that they can't just go back in time and interfere with people's timelines, because all heck would break loose. So what they do, hello.
I'm here. I'm listening.
What they do is they go back in time and pull people out of planes where the planes have gone down and never recovered. It's a perfect crime, sir. It's a perfect crime.
I feel like there's better ways to deal with overpopulation, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I can't really find flaw in it. So you know what? Checkmate on me.
I mean, if you've got the time machine anyway.
Oh, it's not just planes, all kinds of mass disasters. Now, whoa. Do you mean like natural disasters? Like you go back in time and you're like, all right, hey guys, careful.
1920s San Francisco earthquake.
Yeah, but you know what? Historically, whenever you tell a group of people, hey, you need to leave your homes because you're about to get absolutely obliterated by the earth trying to kill you, like 40% of the people go, I could take it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if that's the best way to save lives,
More people.
Sure, you saved 600,
Yeah.
but stubborn is stubborn.
Definitely. So
I'd probably stay in my house.
So, just to break things down for anybody watching who's unfamiliar with your oeuvre, you live with a demon in some sort of I want to say apartment. I
wouldn't call this an apartment either.
It's just you, Stephen the Demon, and a skeleton whose name escapes me.
Billy Bones.
Billy Bones.
Stephen
Billy
around.
Yeah, Billy Bones, who I think, between you and me, possibly my favourite. But
he doesn't talk as much as I could have. I think my chat would probably agree with you on that as well.
Yeah. So how let's talk us through. You were born 87 years ago, I believe.
Yes, I was.
Yes, making you
Chicago, Indiana.
87 years of age. Did you sort of, growing up as a young boy, did you think one day, like if your mother came to you and say, what Saliandra, what would you
I wish I was saying.
what do you want to be when you grow up? And you said, well, I want to live in an apartment with a skeleton and a demon. Yeah. Was that sort of have you slowly been working towards this? Was this been your life goal, Sal?
I would argue that my current living situation is, borderline hostage negotiations and borderline moderate defeatism. I can't kick him out. I can't lock him out. He has like a weird, I don't know, he can that thing where like ghosts walk through walls?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he does that, so it's kind of useless. Not only that, he does this thing where he'll slide out of shadows. I don't know what that is, but so locking him out ain't possible. As for the skeleton, It has been bleached, or so he tells me. So it doesn't smell bad.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
It's just the worst living situation. What's your next question?
Well, just I feel like you've led quite an eventful life. So I kind of want to learn more about your personal history, if that's not too intrusive.
I'm an open book. There's not much I'm not willing to go into.
Okay, so well, let's get straight to it then. Married, I want to say 8 times.
Only 5. Looking at the numbers.
Five. Okay, so what is it about you that's so difficult to live with? Do you think? What would you say?
Well, that depends on which wife you ask. The first one we were just never meant to be together. That was a mistake made in the throes of acid.
That's a LSD.
Yeah, used to be a bit of a deadhead. Deadhead.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I was following them on tour for a while, and that's where I met Cherry. Me and her traveled for about 3 tours together. And at some point, I woke up and we were both wearing rings. And we weren't sure if we'd signed legal documentation. But needless to say, that it didn't take long for us to realize that we probably shouldn't be married.
Yeah.
When your defining relationship trait is boy, do we like looking at our hands for long periods of time. It goes downhill pretty quick.
How did you spend your honeymoon? Oh, trying to find out if we were married or not.
And that is honestly, we were about 50 miles outside Vegas when we noticed our rings, and we had just driven through, and we knew that we had spent at least a few nights in Vegas because we had a hotel receipt, and I had $50 in my pocket that I did not have there recently, and I'm pretty good at cards. So to this day, I pray I won it playing cards, but I honestly don't know. So at that point, we went back and we were like, did we get married here? Because, they got that church where they'll marry you overnight. And they said, we don't know. So we just assumed probably solid idea that we did. We never got a divorce legally. We just were like, we're going to quit being together. So for all I know, maybe I'm still married to her in the eyes of the government. I'm not sure, although she's dead, so that might be weird.
Oh yeah, no, I think generally speaking, if one of the people in a marriage is dead, then that renders the nuptials null and void. I'm no lawyer, but I'm pretty sure that's.
I sure would hope so. It'd be weird to be dropping off
very weird
after shit in a cemetery, and the guy's like, "What's going on?" He's like, "She won the case, my guy. She won the case. You gotta go down."
She got the kids. She got the kids.
She's not the kids.
What are you gonna do?
Daddy, you're leaving your tombstone.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, kid. She won you in custody. It's
They asked them, "Do you want to live with Daddy or do you want to live with your dead mum?" And they went with the dead mum. I think that was just the grief talking, personally. It's it's legally binding, sadly. Yeah.
Uncle Groundskeeper will be buying 5 with some KFC for you. See you later, kids.
Yeah. WK Jess has entered the fray. Welcome, Jess. I don't want to be that guy, but there's a significant. Yes, I think we can sort this echo out once and for all by eliminating one of the chatties. This is going to take a bit of doing, so we're gonna go to a screen. We are now airborne, though.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, we are. Did you not feel it in your stomach?
I felt it in my stomach, but I will say this: I hit the airplane bar pretty hard before I got here.
Fair enough.
I had almost a fifth of Jack Daniel's Fire, so I am feeling warm. I am feeling calm, and I'm hoping we go through some clouds, and it does that thing where the sun shines through them, and it kind of refracts really heavy in it, and so it looks like you're just flying over a sheet of paper.
That would be nice. Right. We're going to go to a little Be Right Back screen, but we'll be returning forthwith. Yes. Hang on. Will we? Yes, we will. Okay, back in a mo. We're going to get this sorted, and then we'll be back with fewer echo. Yes, back in a bit. Testing. Hello.
They were tested.
Yeah. Nope, still there. It's still there. How strange. I reckon it's you, Sal. I'm gonna blame you if that's okay.
You know what? I was thinking the same thing, honestly. Look, if there's one thing I think the Oddball Show has really made itself clear in this community, it is scapegoatism. If there is one thing that we have managed to place ourselves firmly in the middle of,
it's a useful trait to have.
I'd argue probably one of the most useful. It makes you friends pretty quick.
Yeah. I've frozen again. Right. Amazing.
The attractive symbols of my youth are all playing someone's Nan in Hallmark movies now.
That's better. Oh!
Does that say more about your taste in men and women, or does that say, I guess women, you said Nan, does that say more about your taste in women, or does that say more about Hallmark movies' ability to get good actresses?
I think Hallmark know what they're doing. It's odd, isn't it? I watched, and this by no means is a Hallmark movie, but I watched the Disaster Artist recently.
I recall that one though. That was fun.
Yeah.
It's not scary.
And there was a sentiment there. Hang on. Something's annoying me. There was a sentiment by some of the people crewing on the movie, which was that as long as the checks were clearing, it didn't really matter, because there was no way that anybody was actually going to see the movie. Little did they know, of course, that it would become a cult smash. Yeah, but I think
I'm behind that. You know, as long as the checks are clearing, I'm gonna keep. You know.
Yeah. I know it's quite a fascinating little sort of subgenre of film is your self-financed movies. There's Saddam Hussein did one. You remember Saddam Hussein? Do you remember Saddam Hussein?
I recall he released a series of films on YouTube that were promptly taken down.
No, I don't think that was him. I don't think he was in them certainly, but I don't think I don't think he was involved on the production side. But yes, no, he shipped a load of English actors over to well, Iraq, I guess, to make a movie. Yeah, it's and again, it's this sort of like they were paying these good actors, but not your huge film stars. Good actors to come over and appear in this film. And they were paying them top dollar. So
is this where you told me that Eric Bana's Incredible Hulk was funded by Saddam Hussein?
Yeah, that's basically what happened.
Oh my god. That must have been weird for the actors to be like at home, 3 years later, they'd be like, oh shit, that guy used to write my checks.
But yeah, and a lot of that sentiment sort of coming to the fore. It's like, well, this isn't really gonna be playing in the Reading Odeon, so I don't really have to worry too much, on that front. Because the thing is, Saddam could get the films made, couldn't get distribution for love nor money. Love nor money.
Needed to grease a few palms a little better.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
If cuties can make it onto Netflix, I say let Saddam's movie in. Call me a progressive. I say.
Oh, I think I've just fixed everything. Amazing. Right. Hello. Right, we can start now. Jez wants to know about your sex life. Right.
Non-existent for the past 2 months. It's look with lockdown. I haven't touched my Tinder profile. I got kicked off Bumble in a record 3 hours. I was removed from Bumble in 3 hours. That's all it took. 3 hours, and I was off of Bumble.
I'm tempted to clap, Sal.
Yeah, it didn't take long.
So do we dare ask what you did? Do you know, in fact, what you did? Because a lot of people don't. They lack the self-awareness to understand when they cross lines.
I uploaded a photo of a puppet American to my bio, and I was like, my name's Uncle Sal, I'm 87 years old. And they were like, no, you're not. They just threw me right off the platform.
Fake. Ridiculous. That's just puppetist. Really. I don't, I get a lot of flack for this, but I like to think of myself as an ally to the puppet community.
There's so few allies to the puppet community. I think, we're in short supply. There was and we've had, most of our allies end up with a lot of speculation against them. There was that fellow who allied himself with Elmo, and that didn't go great for him, unfortunately. Acquitted, from what I recall, but at the same time, too late. It's in the public consciousness, and people like me keep bringing it up. So it's probably not doing them a lot of good that I'm out here.
Yeah. I think you're confusing alibi with ally. WK Jez, how dare you? I'm a very good ally. On the 23rd of January, between the hours of 5 and 8:30, if anyone asks.
I remember one time I got pulled over for speeding, and I told the cop, I was like, my sister's in labor. I'm sorry. I need to get there as quickly as possible. And he was like, all right, well, let me give you a ride to the hospital. And I was like, oh, that'll be great. So he shuttled me all the way to the hospital. And then he offered to sit with me.
What?
And I knew that this was where he was calling my bluff.
Yeah.
This was where he was like, "You lying son of a bitch!
Yeah.
I know you're lying to me." And he was like, "Well, I'll sit with you." These things are very hard on people. And I was like, "Oh, thank you."
Just so you know, the police would say, just so you know, he's not saying this out loud. He's just saying, I'm enjoying every minute of this.
Oh yes. So here's legitimately what happened. Is I sat there for about half an hour, and I kept calling my wife at the time, and I was going, "How is she?" And my wife knows that I'm probably in trouble, so she just kept going, "She's good. We're still waiting on word." And I'd go, "Okay." And I hang up, and he was like, "Do they have anything yet?" And I would go, "No, we're still waiting." So at some point, I was like, I got to take a piss. So I went to go take a piss. And as I got up, I was waiting for a nurse because I saw this nurse walking in and out of the room. She kept going like back and forth. And I was waiting for her to walk out of the room. So as she walked out of the room, I walked. And she rounded a corner every time. So I rounded the corner with her. And I went, "Excuse me, ma'am, I need your help right now." In 15 minutes, will you do me a favor? And will you call this name and say, "Marjorie is ready to see you"? And she was like, "I don't know. I can't do that." And I explained the whole situation to her. I was like, "I'm trying to get out of a speeding ticket." And she was like, "Oh, hell yeah, this is hilarious." So I went to the bathroom, washed my hands with a ton of soap because I wanted him to smell the soap, which is a hospital. So I went back, I sat down next to him, and 15 minutes later, over the speakers, "Baby, will you come? Please report back." And I go, "Oh, that's her." And so I went in the back room, and I was like, "All right, can you tell me if he leaves?" And she was like, "He has not left." So 15 minutes went by, and he hadn't left. So what I did is I was like, "Hey, what's it like? Why do people leave?" I've never had a person have a kid, so I didn't know. And she was like, most people send their husbands to go get a change of clothes. And I was like, "Perfect." So I walked out, and I was like, "He's doing great. I gotta go run and get her a change of clothes." And he was like, "Congratulations, brother." And he shook my hand. I got my card. Outplayed.
Or he just thought, fair play to him. He's come this far.
He's committed to the bit. He deserves it.
Yeah. So is that what you do every time you get caught speeding now?
Yeah, it gets harder the older you get. Because at some point you can't be like, "My wife is having a baby," because that's a lot of questions.
My daughter's having a baby.
Oh,
my granddaughter's having a baby. It's the same cop every time as well.
Oh yeah, you're just like, what can I say? I've got a very fertile family, We're
we are fecund. Yeah.
Got to keep the lineage going. It's really hard when he catches you a week apart. you gotta sell it.
Sal, I've solved the echo. I'm slightly embarrassed. I'm slightly embarrassed about it, but it's good news. It's good news because
solved it right over Toledo.
Yeah, right. Where are we actually? Let's have a look. We've got a map here.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, we're going to JFK. We are over New Ross.
New Ross?
Yeah. New Ross.
New Ross. What was wrong with old Ross? But
I liked him. We were on a break, he'd say. Hilarious. I have views that are fractionally problematic by 2020 standards. He'd say, yeah. He was. Do you know? This sort of. I don't want to talk about. Have you seen The Room, by the way?
I have.
You have.
I was lucky enough to go shortly after it became popular because I heard it was a bad movie. I have a friend who shows me bad movies, and so I got to go and. My experience was great because it was one of those ones where the whole audience was standing up and going boo, like we were all getting into it.
Beautiful.
And so you left and you were all happy. You were like, "Man, really shit on that guy's art for an hour and a half, right?"
Yeah.
High fives all around.
But what I love about that is that he's written himself to be this great guy, but he's clearly not he's like a terrible person, and you can't quite figure out what's going on with him in the film. And it is that thing is like in Disaster Artist where a sort of an acting coach chat sort of says you should be playing villains because you look like a villain, play villains, and he takes it as a personal insult. It's like no you basically one of the many reasons why the room doesn't work is that you just can't take Tommy as the good guy.
See that's so funny. Like because like if you were to write yourself a character in a movie, what do you think you would write for yourself? You personally, do you think you'd be a hero? Do you think you'd be a background? Who would you be? Like if you had to cast yourself in any movie, what's your like ideal role for you?
I don't think I'd probably. I think you'd sort of cast your own character as a merit, wouldn't you? I think that's fundamentally how you'd go about it. You wouldn't. I don't think you'd be able to sell yourself on a lie of who you were. At least I don't think I could. So I couldn't. I couldn't be the guy who rushes into the burning building to save the 3-year-old.
Would you be the extra outside going, someone needs to go in there?
I'd just be very, very vigilant about ensuring that the fire brigade knew exactly where the house was. I think I'd like to see myself, and this is something that I love in storytelling as well. Generally, I'd like to be the guy who sort of knows what's going on, and he sort of stands back and waits, and then he just sort of. This doesn't really make sense in the burning building analogy, but he just wanders up, puts the wrong bit of paper in the wrong in tray, or leaves the coffee a little bit further up, just makes its tiny little tweak in the setup, and then all the evil enterprise just collapses in on itself.
Oh, that's a fun role.
Yeah, but it's not very cinematic. That's the problem.
I don't know. That sounds to me like a Mr. Bean, like fever dream. I think there's a market. I think there's a market for the character.
So basically, I'm Mr. Bean. That's what you're saying.
But see, you. I think Mr. Bean has an air of unbeknownst stupidity, and I think your character would be well-intentioned. Misplacement, for lack of a better term.
Yes, yeah. Michael Palin in the labyrinth, not in the labyrinth, in the Jabberwocky. Yeah.
G'day, everybody.
Exactly.
We're cruising now.
See, I like 20 years ago, I always kind of thought I was an Indiana Jones. I went around, I did a bunch of dumb stuff. I always thought, but starting this stream, I realized that is not how I am viewed.
No.
Yeah, it was pretty quick into our third or fourth stream that people were coming in, and they were like, "Man, that purple guy's a sweet fella. You're a real piece of shit. I don't like you at all."
Did you?
Oh man!
Did you have the hat and the whip?
I did no. I was and you know what? That was before I even decided who I really wanted to be. Everyone has a stream persona. The second you turn the camera off,
This is just an exaggerated version of myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who I am.
You're not nearly this funny in real life.
No. Would that I were, Sal. Would that I were. Oh, imagine the action I'd get. I mean, the fun I'd have. I mean, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Of course.
Yeah. Hello. What? I'm just seeing what's happening in chat. How dare you besmirch crewman Tommy? Or I've betrayed him like everyone else. That little stars as Heath Robinson in the Prime Mover. Oh snap! This is actually a game. Imagine a social VR game where you're all in a plane together. I never thought of that. Yeah. Well, this is this flight that you see before you is happening courtesy of airplane mode, which is a a simulator of being on an aeroplane, or airplane, as Americans like to say. As they insist on saying. So it's there's a 2-hour flight and a 5-hour flight. We're not going to put Sal through 5 hours, but So that's what this is about. I'm hoping eventually, it's going to go VR multiplayer, or at least multiplayer. But I've got a I don't know. I've got a feeling it might not. Ironically, I think it would if it was free, but it's about £9. And for some reason, I think because I've paid £9 for it like this, it's not going to happen. I can't quite unpick the logic of that, but I think it makes sense.
I can't stand people that do that. If you're like, because I used to take the Greyhound bus, and do you remember? I don't know if you have the same poor issues that I do. Do you remember back in the '80s when they put a bathroom on the Greyhound bus?
Oh, well, we have. I've been on coaches with toilets. Yes.
I used to travel across the country by Greyhound bus, and there was always a guy who would stand up in the mid, you're going like 80 down a freeway, and he would stand up and he'd go to the bathroom, and then he'd come out and he would just lean on the door, and he'd like read his book, but like leaning on, he wouldn't go back to his seat.
What?
And I always prayed that in that moment we would get T-boned by just an 18-wheeler.
Yeah,
I just prayed.
Catapulted down the aisle. Yeah. They're horrible. I think the worst toilets in the world basically are coach toilets.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah. Because it's you could just trains and planes. Just about trains not much better than a coach, to be honest. Planes.
I've been on a train twice. I loved it both times. I felt like a pioneer. I loved it.
Yeah. Because there's an old joke. I don't know how things are in the United States of America, but in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, for a long time, in the train toilets, there'd be this is rather grisly. There'd be a sign up saying "Do not flush whilst train is in station." And one doesn't like to contemplate why that's not the done thing, but there's a rather famous piece of graffito. Where somebody would write underneath, "Except Slough."
That's a bad design.
Yeah.
Look, in fairness, I probably can't design something better. And if I was tasked with designing a toilet for a train, probably be pretty similar. I probably wouldn't have a flush mechanism, though. You would probably just watch the little thing. You know what? You would be able to look through the toilet into the rushing rocks or whatever it is that is under a train.
Yeah. Be like if you had them in the Flintstones.
Yes, exactly.
It's basically that level of technology.
I've always wanted to wear a 3-piece suit, but like an old-timey 3-piece suit with the long jacket, like a kind of a duster jacket.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always wanted to shoot like a bolt action rifle off of at least in the US, that's what they always used to tell us, is they were like, the buffalo was almost hunted to extinction, and men would fire at buffalo off the sides of trains for sport.
Yeah.
And I know that the takeaway was the greed of men almost extincted a beautiful species.
But man, did that sound like fun.
But all I got out of it was, boy, do I want to shoot a gun off the side of a train.
Yeah. Was that the and this is slightly dark. Let's take things dark. Rumors about package tours that would take you to civil war zones and allow you to shoot people out of the essentially it's the same thing, except instead of bison and buffaloes, it was basically people. The idea being that because the civil war had devastated the country so much that you could basically get away with it. And for some people,
the real price you pay is the sleep you'll lose over the next 6 years.
Yeah. And but for some reason, that's what people want. Weird people.
It is weird how people have this natural attraction to violence. You know what I mean? Like, why does it feel so good to slice stuff with like machetes and swords? You know why?
Yeah.
You ever just taken a machete to a piece of fruit?
I do like chopping herbs.
It's very similar. Imagine that on a grander scale. With you can throw more frustration behind it.
Yeah. Certainly can with root vegetables. You can get a real welly going.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But kneading dough. I think in terms of working out frustrations, you can't really beat kneading. Christopher Robin makes the ideal point, which is that porta potties, or portaloos we call them here in Great Britain, yes, are probably worse than coach. I think where they sort of stand shoulder to shoulder, if you will, is I think that the coach toilet is basically a porta potty on a coach.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Those are not great.
It's not a scenario that you want to bring random movement into, really, is it?
So, I worked on a film set in the 70s, and they had like a porta potty truck. It was like a truck that had like 4 bathrooms in it.
Oh, right, yeah.
Inside like 3 of them, or inside 2 of them, I can't remember. There was like a full toilet. And inside the other 2 on the side, to save space, only in the men's room, I'm assuming. I guess I didn't go into the women's. There was a hole in the wall. It was like a glory hole, but you had to pee into it.
Yeah.
And I remember that design, and it was always just borderline infuriating to me at the stupidity and simplicity of what they were giving us to pee into. And I don't know why, because that's all you need is a hole in the wall.
I was going to say, that's actually a brilliant design.
It is brilliant, but there was some part of me that was like, how dare they give me nothing more than this common hole?
Yeah.
I demand more.
Yeah. Was it big enough?
Oh, ample. It was about an inch wide, so I had plenty of space on all sides. Yeah.
Quite a lot of room. Well, no, because this is the thing. Because if you're designing that's a decision you'd have to make at some point. Well, how big is this hole going to get?
That would be funny. Like if some guy came out of the bathroom and was like, "I need to talk to the boss," and I'm like, "What's up?" And he's like, "Can't pee in that. I can't fit anything in there."
Yeah, damn it.
You would just know. Don't mess with George. George don't mess around.
He'd be cross, but at the same time, slightly proud. Yeah.
When you walk up to your boss with your chest pumped out, you're like, "Hey, boss, you're gonna need a bigger pisser." That's all I'm saying.
Mr. Frightful has been on a train, so he can see the rushing rocks. I've been in a car, I think. I think that's quite a more common experience, isn't it? Of being in a car where there's some part of the car floor isn't there anymore, and you can just see the road going past. That's exciting.
I had a friend who he bought this used piece of crap. I think it was a kind of Jeep. I'm pretty sure it was a kind of Jeep.
Yeah.
And he had torn out basically everything except what you needed the car, like what you needed on the car to drive.
Yeah.
And he took a metal drill and he drilled through parts of the metal, and he put 2x4s across the bottom of the car. And he had like what I can only describe as a deck floor in a Jeep.
Beautiful.
But he didn't do it good, and there was just enough space between the 2x4s that I could see the road rushing below us. And I was like, I shouldn't be in this car. This is a bad car.
It's odd though, isn't it? Because it's probably fine, Probably fine.
I always thought it probably is fine, and then I had a thought. If we get into a car accident, this becomes just a giant piece of shrapnel that is going to splinter and kill us both, regardless of the severity of the accident.
The splinters were too severe.
Yeah. It's the first car accident that the paramedics got to show up to and be like, "Oh, we need tweezers. Lots of tweezers.
400 tweezers, stat." Yeah. No idea what stat means. Just think you say it at the end of things. In medical dramas, they always say that. They always say that. Get me half a kilo of prune juice, stat. They say
It's a good fallback, you know.
Yeah.
Why learn medical jargon when you can yell stats?
stat. Just say stat at the end. Yeah.
I wish doctors talk to each other like trade workers do, you know?
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of I would love to walk in and there's a guy on a gurney and a doctor is just screaming profanity at the nurses who are screaming profanity back.
Yeah.
And you know that they're working good together. They're not angry.
No.
They're stressed out. I would appreciate, as somebody who's probably going to spend a lot of time in the hospital in the next few years,
Joke.
I would appreciate it if my doctor was like, get this man a bleeping tourniquet, you son of a bleep, 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 bleep,
Yeah.
bleep.
Yeah.
Like, I would appreciate it.
Joking about sleeping with each other's wives. That's a common one,
Yes.
isn't it? Yeah.
Why is that? So, I know a trade worker. I was introduced to him by a mutual friend. And my mutual friend goes, he'll tell you anything and everything. And I was like, all right, yeah, that's fine.
Mhm.
And within 5 minutes of talking to this man, I had been described what his wife looked like naked, and I mean within 5 minutes. It
Yeah.
was not more or less than that. I knew and a generalized idea of what his genitals looked like.
Uh-huh.
And I had his first and second girlfriend's first sexual encounters described back to me. And I was like, man, it must have just been that one guy. And I met like 25 other trade workers through him, and pretty much same experience across the board.
Yeah. Do you think it's just sort of, because I think if I've got a very visual sort of mind, so when somebody sort of I had a colleague say once, because she used to do ballet, and she would say that she said I mean pretty much apropos of nothing as well. She said that she happened to walk into her boyfriend's bedroom topless en pointe, on the very tips of her toes, that morning, and it's just kind of like, okay, now I have that image in my head. Thanks, because I have to work with you, and now I have basically a fetish video in my head. So
I think I would walk into her office every day on point.
Yes.
I think I would make it a goal of mine to see how many times I had to do it before she was like, do you remember the story I told you? And I would be like, every waking moment.
Yeah. Every time I close my eyes, it's there. But no, I'm not sure this is what she was about. But I didn't. I get the feeling. That these tradesmen, they sort of say that they joke about sleeping with each other's wives because they reckon that maybe further down the line there's going to be a point where the wife is all sort of like, I think to spice things up in the bedroom, we could maybe, bring a friend along, so yeah, and it is, and he's your chap there is going to think, geez, which guys do I know that I could ask for such a menage a trois? But you'd have this ready mental list because you've already pictured it from all of the top flight banter at work. So
I think there has to be a beautiful moment when you're bringing that up to your wife, because at some point you are going to say, I think that's such a minefield for both parties involved, unless you're insanely comfortable with each other to the point that there is no harm you can do to each other, which that's not a thing in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think there is a great point in that conversation where you go, well, I'm pretty sure Kevin would be up for it, him and his wife, and there would be a moment where your wife goes, not Kevin, but is Jim interested? And you're like, no, Jim specifically is not interested. Give me 4 more names and I'm going to take the 5th because I don't need your top 5. This is BS.
Yeah. That's the thing. There was, and it's a sweeping generalization, but there was a sort of a survey done a while back, I think, where it was talking about men's sexual fantasies and women's sexual fantasies. And the women's sexual fantasies tend to be scenarios, but the men's sexual fantasies tended to be very specific actors and actresses. That's basically how that works, you know. So women would be like, be sort of a revolving circular bed strewn with petals and champagne and strawberries that we would eat off each other's bodies, and the guys would be Drew Barrymore, right here, right now. Thank you. That's far. That's how it works.
I believe it was.
Yeah.
I might be getting the comedian wrong. I believe it was Michael Che.
Oh, of Saturday Night Live fame.
Of Saturday Night Live fame. He had I'm pretty sure it was his joke, and it was I asked my wife one time what her biggest fantasy is, and she went into detail, and she goes, "Why? When you see it was when you see a guy and you imagine yourself together, what do you imagine? You know, the fantasy." She went into this long thing, and she was like, "What do you imagine?" And he was like, "The woman bent over the nearest piece of furniture."
Yeah. It's sad in a way because I think I just get the feeling that women, and again, broad generalizations, the woman in that scenario is probably getting a better sort of experience in her imagination.
Probably.
Really.
Yeah, if you get to have like all the, brain working function to be like, ooh, you know what would make this nicer? If he also smelled like Jean Paul 24 and he brought home not wine. Forget wine. What if he brought home apple cider? And then in our mind, it's this animalistic like, it's bend. I
think
I like apple cider. You know what? From now on, in every fantasy, I'm including apple cider.
Yeah,
but that's for me. That's for me.
Yeah. Now, vis-a-vis the apple cider, is that alcoholic or non-alcoholic? Because all cider in the United Kingdom is alcoholic.
Oh, I would go non-alcoholic.
Non-alcoholic. Okay.
For sure.
I just
Get a bottle of Martinelli's from California. Boy.
We're going to go some apple juice then.
I guess that is just sparkling apple juice. I don't know. Yeah, I guess that is all it is. But yeah. You can order apple juice. I just saw that.
Yeah. Well, it seems appropriate. It seems appropriate. Incredible. Yeah. And I've got to do the 5-hour flight at some point because you get a proper meal. It's always amused me because you get short haul flights in the United Kingdom, and I think you can fit about 8 United Kingdoms into Texas. So, and it's always sort of amused me that it's like there hasn't really been a decent British road movie because basically the time that it would take to get anywhere I'm exaggerating hugely here, but the time it would take to get anywhere in the United Kingdom is shorter than most films. That's not true, but it feels true. And
I've heard forum discussion, and it's always like the British. They always take the T out and replace it with an apostrophe mark.
British,
and I do find it funny. Yeah, the British, and it's like I had to drive 40 minutes out my way. And it's like Americans. I drove 40 minutes and I haven't left my neighborhood.
Yeah. Still backing out of the drive, mate. Yeah. That's the way. I've only been to America once. I went to Florida, which is I think where Donald Trump lives, and
it's where we send the degenerates. Yes, that is the lowest form of.
I like that. He goes to Washington to drain the swamp, and then as soon as he's not president, he goes, I think I'll go to Florida.
Return to the swamps from which I came.
Yeah. See how their swamp situation is. But I think as a Brit, it's astonishing just to see how spread out everything is. Because I think we've sort of generally, and I don't know how far this is a climate thing even, but we tend to bunch everything up as close together as we possibly can. You know, we're very much a nation that until the invention of the motor car, you know, we were happily building streets where one could shake hands with somebody in the opposite building should they open a window. You know, very, 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 very close in. And you get out to Florida, and it's just like, why is your sky bigger? How is that even possible? Your sky is bigger.
If you want a big sky, my friend, I implore you to make your way to Wyoming. Oh my
Okay.
God.
Yeah.
I told this story a few days ago. You might have been present for it, I'm not sure. But in Wyoming, I drove going 90 miles an hour for like 4 hours. And I don't remember passing a building. But I do remember when I looked out my passenger window, I could see just a sea of like, what's the word? It was like tall grass.
Yeah.
About 4 hours in, I saw a sign that said scenic overlook, next left or next right. And I went, well, son of a bitch, I gotta go see what this scenic overlook is.
Yeah.
So I turned off and I went to the scenic overlook. This is moderately important to the story. The wind was blowing so hard that it was blowing my car into the other lanes, and I had to continuously correct myself.
Yeah.
And when I passed 18-wheelers, I would speed up to 120 miles an hour, simply so I didn't get blown into the 18-wheeler while I was passing him. So anyways.
Were you carrying any furniture at this point?
No, luckily, I had actually just dropped, I had been paid to carry a couch from Oregon to Illinois, and I was coming back from Illinois.
All right. Cool.
So in Wyoming, I get off on this thing, and I went to the scenic overlook, and sure enough, it was a patch of dirt overlooking the tall grass sea that I had been staring at for the past 4
There's your
hours.
scenery.
It was beautiful, but the wind was blowing so strong. I held the ends of my jacket and leaned forward, and I was able to go to, over a 45-degree angle, just like I was
Jackson.
like this. Yeah, I'm Michael Jacksoning it for sure.
Smooth criminal.
And halfway through it, I thought I could do this all day, and a blast of wind hit me and blew me backwards, like as if God heard me go, I can do this all day. He was like, no, you can't. No, get down. Don't be trying that around here.
Yeah. Ooh. Do you ever get the feeling? Do you ever get that sort of vertiginous kind of jump sort of feeling when you're in high places?
All the time.
Yeah.
Why? Like when I was on the train, I loved sticking my head out the window and looking straight down at the things rushing by.
Yeah.
I love going to the tops of like the highest buildings I could find and just leaning over. It's like, what's down there? My imminent death. That's what's down there. But I must see it.
So I went up the Eiffel Tower once. One of the things that they don't impress upon a lot of people, before they get up the Eiffel Tower, is that it moves. It's not and it has to move, obviously, because if it didn't, the stick which does not bend is the stick that breaks. So it's got to have a bit of a wobble to it, the Eiffel Tower. So you sort of get all the way up to the top. The Eiffel Tower's in Paris, so it's a big tower, and it's a big metal tower.
Oh, of course. I was thinking of Big Ben. I apologize.
Yeah, very different. And and you're sort of up there, and it's wonderful. Is that you walk up a good part of the Eiffel Tower, and there's this amazing moment where you kind of hit this, because perceptions sort of works logarithmically. So we get these sort of thresholds of perception, not in the Aldous Huxley sense, but it's like if you're parachuting, there's a point at which the ground does not appear to be moving, and then a point where the ground appears to be rushing towards you very quickly, and it's like in a matter of about a second, you go from one state to the other in an experience known as ground rush, and that's because basically you're not really perceiving it until you hit a certain point. And the same sort of thing happens if you're walking up the Eiffel Tower. There's this point where basically all of the sound from Paris just sort of disappears. Just don't know what that was. Just completely disappears, and it's bizarre and wonderful. But and then you sort of get an elevator all the way up to the very top because it's too thin to have a stairway, I think, by that point. And then there's like the sort of the viewing platform and whatnot, and the whole thing's just very slightly, like a calm ferry crossing. It's just very slightly sort of swaying, and I was sort of up here and I was thinking, because I'm not brilliant with heights, and I'm sort of up there and thinking, after about 15 minutes, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm about done here. I can go from this moving tower very, very high up in the air. Yeah. So it's a word of warning as much as anything. It moves.
I read once that the Eiffel Tower weighs less than the air that surrounds it. Like if you were to make a box around the Eiffel Tower, the Eiffel Tower, the metal that makes it is less than the air around it. So the fact that it moves kind of doesn't surprise me. I think if I was going up it for the first time, I'd be like, why is this thing moving? And then I'd think of that fact and I'd be like, yeah, that's fair. All right, fair enough.
There is a question for chat, which is that there's a famous writer who lived in Paris, and every day he would have lunch in the Eiffel Tower, and because there was, I think there still is, a restaurant up there, and people would say to him, "Oh, you must really love the Eiffel Tower that you go there every day for lunch," and he says, "No, I hate the Eiffel Tower. This is the only place that I can eat where I do not have to see it." Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Can't remember who. Catching up with chat. That ballet tiptoes thing disturbs me. Okay, that's fair enough. It's fair enough. It's not. I don't think it's very good for you. Walking on point. Who doesn't like a spit roast? I don't know what that relates to. Drew Barrymore in the 90s or Drew Barrymore in the noughties. I feel that my admiration for Drew Barrymore has, with the exception of the E.T. years, has grown up sort of alongside. I think I'm the same age as Drew Barrymore. So yeah, she's always had a place in my repertoire. Every Friday I like to get inside her. That's very industrious, Nick.
I didn't understand what the hell that meant until you said it out loud.
Yeah. Much like the
I was like, I do like cider. Good on you, Nick Lambert. I was like, me and you, we agree on something. And you know what? Now me and you agree on two somethings.
Hey. I think we had Dr. K. Ross. I think we mentioned the the drinks are coming. I think we sort of mentioned the possibility of her coming on the stream for an episode. And she'd seen Jack's Off on a Plane written down, but she'd not heard it spoken out loud. And the penny dropped. She didn't say yes or no, which is telling, but I think the penny dropped. I don't know what penny, though.
The U.S., I believe, is currently trying to get rid of our pennies.
Are they? Cash-free society?
No, just the penny. Apparently it costs 2 cents to make a penny.
Yeah.
And that seems like a bit of an issue if you ask me. Now, look, I'm going to preface this with, I am not an economist.
Yeah.
But in my quick Google search of, should you pay 2 times the amount of money for 1 times the amount of money, a resounding no seemed to be coming from most of the experts.
Yeah. Do you have the word coppers to relate to copper in inverted commas coins as opposed to silver coins? Is that a there's odd little sort of things that may or may not be in American English, you know?
I remember hearing it when I was a kid. I used to have like aunts and uncles who would be like, "Here's a piece of copper," and they'd get first of all, they'd always say that, and then they give you like $1. So even when they were saying it, it didn't mean what it meant.
Yeah.
It was just something they probably picked up from, I don't know, when my aunts and uncles were alive, I don't know, fucking the Civil War. I don't know if it's whenever they were alive, I don't know. But so when they said it didn't even, it just meant money. Here's some money. But they were like, here's some copper.
Because till
my grandfather said silver.
Till I think about 1987 in the United Kingdom, our copper coins, which would be our 2p's and our 1p's, were like just absolutely made of copper. It was like it was your actual copper, and it reached a point where suddenly the copper that they were using cost more than the copper that the money it represented. So we switched to a steel core copper plate, and steel money's fun because it's magnetic, but so we sort of went through that ourselves, back in the 80s.
About to rob this bank with a high-powered magnet and a very fast car.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The penny is not a one-time use. Okay, here's the thing. There was a study done. I'm quoting John Oliver at this point.
Okay.
And they found that like 15% of pennies that are produced end up in the garbage, which
Wow.
means we're maybe using them 4 times and then they're getting thrown into the garbage. Look, man, I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah.
Oh, the U.S. is probably far further behind the U.K. than we care to admit.
Yeah.
I don't know how progressive the UK is.
I think
but-
different countries progress at different levels, at speeds in different fields. I think it's like
If we allow the Reddit forums to take over, we're going to regress quite a bit.
What? Oh gosh, she's pointing at me and I don't know what she means.
Oh God.
Oh, is that it? Really?
I think she wants. Oh yeah, you got to put your tray down. She can't just give you juice.
I'm so confusing. I could just hold it, you know. Could use this.
This is a very This is a very pushy flight attendant. This
She
will
is.
be going in my report. This is going in my report.
But there it is. Hello. Hop. Hopla. Oh, I see.
Thank you.
She's giving...
Diluted with ice. My God.
Shit.
You know these airlines.
It was very passive aggressive as well with the nuts, didn't you think? I hadn't, just mark you, I hadn't asked for nuts. If they are nuts, are they pretzels? Oh, they're pretzels. I hadn't actually, oh, they're very good though. I hadn't actually asked for, do you want a pretzel?
Oh no! Here's the best part. In preparation of this stream, I knew that we'd be on a plane together.
Yeah.
I brought my own cashew snacks.
Excellent.
So I am covered. Yes, I am covered.
Excellent. But yeah, I hadn't asked, they are very good. I hadn't asked for the pretzels, you know, and then she's so she's proffering me the drink. I take the drink that I asked for, and then she's just going to say, I am going to stand here until you take these bloody pretzels. You can throw them in the trash as far as I can care, but they are leaving this tray right now. How are your cashews?
Absolutely fantastic.
Good. These pretzels are not bad, you know. It's almost worth the. I can understand the passive aggression, really. Good.
Oh, it has a little animation.
Those pretzels look like bottoms. All pretzels look like bottoms.
Thank you.
In fact, pretzel is German for bottom. And if that's not true, it should be.
I literally was just going to believe you without doing any ulterior research.
Yeah, it sounds feasible. There's 2 things I like. There's the stupid lies that just fly. Absolutely, you know. If you excuse the pun.
You wanna play a game?
Oh, we got a game.
Is the next thing I say true or false?
Oh, okay.
I've stumped quite a few people with this one. Because the specificity of this is what trips them up. The United States Corn Belt, during the months of May, June, and July, produces more oxygen than the Amazon rainforest.
I know that the biggest oxygen producer in the world is actually aquatic algae. I'm going to go true.
It is true.
Yeah.
NASA wrote the whole thing on it. It blew my mind.
Yeah. The thing with that though, you know, because it's one of those facts that you think being put to ill use. Because the thing is, you don't just. It's like when people, you know, when people get annoyed at the police for I don't know,
Mishandling situations.
Yeah, and they'll say, why aren't you out catching paedophiles? And it's going back as if that's how the system should work. Is it right? First of all, we're gonna round up all the paedophiles and send them to prison, and then we're gonna go serial murderers. We're gonna go those, and we're just basically just gonna work ourselves all the way down through the criminal system. You know, because basically on a priority-based system. It's like, no, that's not how that works. And it's this similar sort of thing. Is obviously, you know, it's great that the corn belt is producing all that oxygen, but that doesn't mean that we can ditch the rainforest. And that's a sort of a way when those sorts of stats float around, it's almost like undermining the notion that we need probably more than one source of oxygen. I'm guessing. You know.
More than likely.
Yeah.
Speaking of criminality, this brings up something me and my chat argued about vehemently long ago.
Okay.
I am under the belief that everyone on Earth is a criminal to a degree. Not everyone is a murderer, but I believe everyone at some point in their life has taken gum from the grocery store. I believe that everyone at some point in their life has pocketed a candy bar. At something along those lines.
Confess your crimes, Sal.
Oh, okay. You want a good one? You want a real good one?
Yes, please.
I used to go to a grocery store, and I for like a week I went at the same time every day. I went at my lunch break. I was working for the DARE program because I was lying to kids. So, anyways, I went in. And every day at like roughly the same time, I saw this guy in there, and the guy would buy a 16-pack of Busch Light, and he'd buy a rotisserie chicken.
Yeah.
So this grocery store had a deli, and every seventh sandwich you bought at their deli, you got for free. But it didn't work like that. It didn't work like I see you bought 6. Here is your 7th. It is free.
Yeah.
You would get points, and you could redeem those points for a free sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
I was behind this gentleman one day, and as I walked up, I looked, and it displayed his sandwich points. I used to work at the place, so I knew where to look. It displayed his sandwich points right there. He had 500 sandwich points.
What?
And I was like, well, I'm going to steal this man's identity because that's a lot of free sandwiches, and I'm very broke. So the next time I went in, I waited. I think I took an extra 15 minutes on my lunch break, simply so I could wait for this man to walk in. Sure enough, comes in, gets his 16-pack of Busch Light and his rotisserie chicken. I get in line right behind him, and she goes, what's the phone number? And he gave the phone number, and I was just sitting behind him, mouthing, 955-323. And I ate free, and I ate free sandwiches for the next 3 months. I swear to God.
Why wasn't he cashing them? Was he just saying?
I don't know.
Was he going to kill himself by eating sandwiches at one point? He's just like,
I'm about to save that man's life.
Yeah, probably. One Christmas, he's going to go in there. He's going to just wipe them out, and then he's going to go home and just gluten himself to death.
Now, I've always wondered that. I've always wondered if he ever, because here's the thing, they would still give you points on the free sandwiches.
Yeah.
And so for every free sandwich I got, I was earning like more sandwiches. So I always wondered if he was gonna like, in the far future, his kids were gonna be like, Grandpa, let's go get a sandwich. And he was like, I got good news for you kids. And they get to the bar and he's gotta pay like $24 for these sandwiches. And like, no.
Why was this done? My theft was a little more direct. There's a satirical magazine in the United Kingdom called Private Eye, which was set up in the 60s. And
is that your guys' version of the one that's like, I married Bigfoot?
No, not at all. No, this is what it started as much as anything as a sort of a hello.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Hang on. Let me just finish my drink. Oh no! Apparently, I've thrown it away. Thank you. He's very good. Yes, so it's when in the UK in the 60s, we were formerly a very reverential bunch. So if we got like a minister, if we got a minister on the TV for an interview, we would literally say, "So, Minister for Trade, what would you like to talk about?" There was no interrogative interviewing. It was very much we are providing the government a platform for them to say what they want to say.
Of course.
And a lot of people took umbrage, and then there was terrible things often happening courtesy of the government, and there was a lot of pomposity pricking, because a lot of people felt that we had to kind of do that in order to actually have a meaningful discussion with people in power. And part of that sort of part of the thing happened. There was a TV show called That Was the Week That Was, which did it for telly, and there was a newspaper, a magazine called Private Eye, which did it. It had a lot of celebrity gossip in it, but also it had this sort of investigative journalism ultimately, and a lot of sort of silliness as well. And so it's been going for years and years and years, and I'd read it from time to time. And as a student, I'd go to a particular supermarket, and I think this has actually died out a little. But in this particular supermarket, it was Sainsbury's in Canterbury, you'd have like the newsagent section, which sold all the papers and magazines, completely separate to the groceries, essentially to allow people to nip in for cigarettes, because, and I think that was a thing as well. Cigarettes are quite bad for you, Sal. Did you know that?
Yeah, I might have experience.
Yeah.
Might be a foremost author on, hey, don't smoke, kid.
Yeah.
Unless you want to look cool.
Because it does make you look cool. But don't smoke. I think supermarkets kind of wanted to keep selling the cigarettes, but kind of distance themselves from the fact that they sell cigarettes. And because newsagents sell cigarettes and tobacconists sell cigarettes, but Asda prices, they shouldn't be selling cigarettes. So what they do is they kind of bundle, they essentially create a newsagent within the supermarket. So that allows, this is literally only just occurred to me that this is what's going on, which sort of allows them to sell cigarettes without selling cigarettes at the same time. And in order to do that, they obviously have to sell newspapers there as well. And what would happen was people would go to the newsagent bit and they'd pick up their paper, pay for the paper, and then they'd go into the rest of the supermarket and do the shopping. And what I found is that if you took a newspaper and you said, "Is it all right if I pay for this at the main till with the rest of my shopping?" Because we had sort of chip and pin sort of card payment coming in, debit payments were just fairly new, and you've got that lower limit, so you couldn't buy a £1.20 newspaper on Switch because you had to get it beyond the £5 level. So it's a perfectly reasonable request. So you'd say, "Oh, can I pay for that with my main shopping?" And they say, "Oh yeah, no, that's fine." So one day I took a Private Eye and I rolled it up, and I said, "So can I pay for this with my main stuff?" Yeah. Did my food shop with the Private Eye tucked under me armpit. Got to and in my mind, what was going to happen was even if they, I didn't want to be in a situation where the cashier would say, "Oh, are you paying for the Private Eye as well?" And I would say, no. I wouldn't lie. What I'd do is I'd put it under my arm, pay for me shopping, and if they said, have you paid for that?" I'd just go, oh, well spotted. No, yeah, I haven't yet. Oh, nearly got away with it. All that sort of fake bluster. Yeah.
There's a comedian. I believe this one was Gary Goldman. Oh, I actually remember this guy, Gary Goldman. He had a joke about I play a game every time I go to the shopping. Every time I go shopping, which is everything on the bottom of my cart is free, as long as I can force the teller to maintain eye contact with me and not notice it.
Yeah. And does that work for him?
I've gotten away with it quite a few times. Now a few times I've done it on accident, And a few times I've been like, let's see if we can do it. Let's, you throw a couple 12 packs of soda down there that you're like, I don't need this, and I don't necessarily want this, but it's on a relatively okay sale. And then you get to the counter and you're like, I don't know. You don't see it. We don't got to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know what's super weird? I don't know what stores are like in Britain, but in the South, for some reason, there is like you know those like scanner things that they put at especially in tech stores where if you walk through with something you haven't bought, they beep.
Yeah.
They don't have them in grocery stores here.
Oh.
They don't have them. So as long as that lady doesn't see it, you're pretty good to go. I remember I was on a phone call that was like super important about, I don't remember what it was, but I do remember it was super important. And I ordered a sandwich, oddly enough, from the place I've been stealing them from a certain man's phone number for a good like 3 months. I was getting a sandwich. And I just walked out the door with it because I was like in the middle of this heated phone call. And I got to my car and I was like, oh, I should go pay for this. And then I got in my own head and I was like, oh, but if I walk in, I'm like, I just walked out with your food. Maybe they'll be weird about it. But I was like, but they wouldn't be weird about it because I'm coming back in to pay. But then I was like, but then it would be just really awkward. So anyways, I did steal a sandwich just right out on that one.
I was going to say as well that it might have impacted on your identity theft. That little angle you had going as well.
For real.
Yeah. Gee, if he's going to steal a sandwich, what else is he up to?
I've been to a Dairy Queen where I ordered a Blizzard, and then the lady gave me $20 in change, and I stared at her in the eyes for a solid 10 seconds, and she stared at me, and I went, thank you, and I walked out. I didn't even get the Blizzard. I was like, you know what? Sometimes you just got to take a win.
Yeah. Interpol is waiting at JFK for us both, apparently, according to Orange Spark. I've got free travel before by doing the convincing eye contact with the bus driver while sharing an empty sweet packet. Brilliant, Mr. Ron. Brilliant.
Interpol is waiting at JFK for you both.
This pains me. I saw a comedian. I used to go to a comedy night, a comedy night, as we're now calling them, apparently. And it's quite common in London because there's a lot of people doing stand-up who are sort of new to it. There's certain comedy nights where you basically get competent first act, and then a fantastic mainliner, and then like one or two acts in the middle, who this could be like their third or fourth gig, possibly even their first gig. And this one guy who I don't think had been doing stand-up for very long, but was very sort of comfortable, and he because we have Oyster cards, we have like near field chip cards on the buses. So you basically tap a little roundel with your card, and the machine will beep, and then you get on. And he did this bit about how he was behind some kid getting on at the bus, and the kid basically just held his hand up to the roundel, went beep, and tried to walk on. And doing the beep noise with your mouth apparently isn't enough to get past most bus drivers. They're kind of quick to notice that sort of stuff.
But you go ahead and throw that sound effect on your phone. Good timing.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Well, actually, yeah, and you can pay with your phone now as well. So that would be. Oh, Sadiq Khan, hang on to your hats. Petty larceny is coming to London.
I like to think when right after you scan your phone as you're sitting down, the Cyberpunk 2077 music blares over the speakers.
yeah. Blink 182. Oh no! Wrong button.
Oh my god.
How would let's see. How is the flight coming along? I think we're lovely clouds. Not as nice as the clouds in the opening title sequence, but still. Oh, look at that. We're what are we at? We're over New York, apparently. The Big Apple.
Well.
So good they named it after some fruit. Not to be confused, of course.
Why was it named the Big Apple?
Why?
Yeah, I don't know. I just realized I don't know why it's called the Big Apple.
Yeah, I always assumed that it was sort of supposed to suggest an abundance of affluence somehow, but I'm not quite sure what that has to do with apples. Apple is, of course, traditionally the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Oh,
Although never stipulated, but we've generally taken it as the apple.
yeah. Apple of my eye. All right, it makes all right. The Big Apple. All right, I guess it kind of makes sense, but even still, you're kind of like, why not call it like
The Great Banana.
New York, baby?
Yeah.
Pick up any remaining trash. Thank you.
Remaining trash. Ooh. I think we had the wind against us, or behind us rather.
Hitting a little turbulence, huh?
Yeah, just a little. It's fine. Do you want to know what's wrong with the title sequence?
Well, now I do.
Yeah, it'll ruin it forever. But I kind of feel like I've just got this impish feeling that I want to, because you're all here for what was essentially the first Jack's off on a plane with assets. I kind of want to let you in on something. If you look at the gaps between the windows, in fact, I think we can do that actually. Let's do this. Look at the gaps between the windows inside, and then the gaps between the windows outside the plane. Just check this out. They're very different. They're very different, aren't they? Oh yeah, they're not. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Sally's muted. Excellent. Ah, that's better. Hello. Sorry, you were muted. You were saying that you were expecting there to be more on the inside than the outside, and it was the other way around.
You, Jack, what are you trying to do? Save the show?
I need to fix that. Sal, baby, you are the show. Huh?
Oh, you're buttering me up now. I don't approve.
What? How would you react if I told you that there is a film that's worse than The Room?
I've seen it probably. I've seen some pretty bad. What's the worst movie you've ever seen? Let me hear yours. I'll tell you mine.
Should we? Hang on. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll say 3, 2, 1, and then on the beat after 1, we'll say what the worst film we ever saw was. And if it's the same, it's the same one, we have to get married or something. Okay. 3.
All right. This is a little extreme, but I'm in.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Showgirls 2.
Pool Boy 2.
What was that? Sorry, what was yours?
Pool Boy 2.
Pool Boy 2.
Drowning out the fury.
Ah, that's interesting. I'm going to write that down. Pool Boy 2. Because I've got it.
Here's a word. No, there is no Pool Boy 1.
It's always a
it
good
does
sign.
not exist.
It's always a good sign. But so what goes on? What goes down in Pool Boy 2? Is it an adult film? Is it? Are we allowed to talk about it?
It is for adults, I will say that. It is. I'm torn on it because here's the thing. It's a bad movie.
Yeah.
It's probably the worst movie ever done.
Uh-huh.
And I constantly find myself torn on whether the comedy in it is a comment on masculinity, stereotyping, and racism in the United States.
Uh-huh.
Just done at such a low budget level that it comes across sincere.
Okay,
I don't know how to explain it. But then there's another part of me that's like, I don't know, maybe these are just in bad taste. All I know is that the main character, the actor playing the main character, is pronounced dead halfway through the movie. And he is then replaced with the director, who has also been giving us his commentary on the film.
I thought
cutaways.
I thought you were going to say he's also dead, but no. They replaced a dead guy.
No, but he's wearing an eye patch.
So he's getting there. He's getting there.
And he does copulate with like 5 people throughout the film and a blow-up doll.
Nice.
An interesting film.
I think I might cross it out.
Understandable. Tell me about Showgirls 2.
Showgirls 2 is the sequel to the Paul Verhoeven film Showgirls, which you might remember was about Las Vegas glamour dancers.
I recall being upset because I'd been told that it was like, I was like, that, you know, when it came out, everyone was like, "Oh, have you seen it? It's so bad. It's you. Oh my God, you can't even talk about it in public. It's so bad." And then I went and saw it, and I was like, "Man, this is mediocre at best." But anyways, Showgirls 2.
Yeah, Showgirls 2 is a film that was, I think, not crowdfunded, but I think it was sort of crowdfunded. It was put together by the girl that replaces Nomi in the original strip club that she was in. Oh right, no, hang on, right, okay, yeah. So at the start of Showgirls, Nomi is working at this awful strip joint, and there's another girl.
I would love. I'm sorry to interrupt. I would love a movie one day to take place in a strip club where all the women love their jobs. Like I've never seen it. It's always a strip club where the women are like, "I hate my life. This is the worst I've ever been."
Yeah. People who are just there to dance, which I mean, sort of the suggestion with Nomi, wasn't it, that she was there to dance? She meets this choreographer. What's going on? Oh. Hang on. Oh, I've done that again.
Well, joke's on Red Munchkin here. The stewardess has already taken our snacks away from us.
I've got to get this stuff down. Hang on. Vince Boy 2 has followed. Thank you very much for that follow. Red Munchkin Gaming has raided. Welcome, Red Munchkin. Welcome to the first full episode of Jack's Off on a Plane with. And today, Jack's off on a plane with Uncle Sal. Say hello, Uncle Sal.
Hello. If it wasn't obvious, I am the Sal in question.
Yeah. Is Sal short for salad?
No, oddly enough, like, you know, I've always had a lot of friends named Sal. I used to have a friend named Sal, and he was a guy, but his parents' name was Sally.
Okay.
I knew a guy who owned a deli. He was a Salazar. But nope, I'm just
Salazar.
Sal. My parents knew 3 letters in the alphabet, apparently, and they were like, we're going with those.
They were left at the end of a Scrabble game with an S, an L, and an A. Yeah, that'll do nicely. We were just discussing the plot of Showgirls 2. So yeah, in the first film, Nomi meets a choreographer, and they sort of work on this quite sort of art house dance routine. And in the end, she sort of kicks him to the curb and goes off and joins the big show. And he picks up another dancer from the same strip joint that Nomi was at, and they put together the art thing. All hail the cube. No visible cube today, sadly. But yes, so it basically follows her. The second film, it's essentially funded or it's sort of produced by the actor who played that second dancer, and it has been made. The thing, although there is definitely things wrong with The Room, such as not understanding that you don't have to have characters arrive at the start of every scene. You know, you don't have to have a character open the door to bring on another character at the start of virtually every scene in the entire film. You don't have to do that.
I don't know. As the screenwriting aficionado, as we're well aware, I would argue not opening a door to invite each individual character into a scene is breaking the rules. It's like crossing the 180-degree line. It's just not done.
It's just rude. The 180-degree line, by the way, is a rule whereby the camera has to essentially stay on the one side of a 180-degree rule, that 180-degree line that runs from the two sort of key characters in that particular scene. This is to prevent in the edit them to appear to change places. Now, interestingly, there is a moment in Showgirls where the line is crossed, where they do break the 180-degree rule. You've seen Showgirls? We've covered this. Do you know which scene where it crosses the line?
I do not. I'm thinking about it. I do not.
It's the Dog Chow restaurant scene. There's a scene where where Nomi talks to the lead in the Goddess show about how they both ate dog chow as children, and there's a moment in that scene where they cross the line. It's been written about. It's like a moment of change.
There's a story about horror writer who wrote it. Can't think of his name.
Stephen
King.
something.
Stephen King. He
from
wrote
Maine.
He was allowed to direct a movie, and he does an interview about it, and he was like, I was only allowed to direct it because I'm Stephen King.
Yeah.
So we were doing a shot, and at one point I told them, just go to the other side of the car and shoot it from there. And they went, okay, everyone got quiet, but they begrudgingly agreed to do it. And nobody told him what was wrong until, a few shots later.
Yeah.
And somebody came up and he goes, generally you don't break the 180-degree line. And he was like, I didn't know what the 180-degree line was.
Yeah.
So I called my friend. He called another director, and he was like, "What is the 180-degree line?" And he was like, he explained it to him like you just explained to the audience. Yeah. And he goes, you generally shouldn't cross it. And he goes, there's a few people who cross it, but generally you're not supposed to. And he goes, okay. And so then he called up David Lynch, and he goes, I made a mistake.
I made a boo-boo.
Yes, I crossed the 180-degree line. And David Lynch, in the story goes, hey, you're the director. You can do whatever you want. If you want to cross the 180-degree line, you cross it. There are no rules in the art of filmmaking. And then he paused and he went, it won't cut together though.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. But that's the thing. Red Munchkin quite rightly points out that you can break the 180-degree rule, but I think it's important to have a purpose to doing that. Basically, you shouldn't just break it willy-nilly.
For your safety and comfort, please remain.
I believe there was a movie set in space starring the individual of earlier mention that I can't remember. He was in Braveheart. I think it was him. I'm like 10% sure it was him. And they break the 180-degree rule like every other shot, and it's disorienting as shit. But that is the point.
Yeah. And also you can, because sometimes I've got a media degree. I've shot some video, and I did do a shoot once where I was a conversation in the cloakroom of the student union bar, which we were sort of pretending was a nightclub, quite badly, really, and a conversation between two people down this corridor, and essentially there was no way round breaking the 180-degree rule because you were down the corridor. So what we did was there's this thing known as cutting on action, which is basically where you when you're editing a sequence of actions together, like somebody crosses over the room, stops, stoops down, picks up some car keys, and then leaves. You see, and you want to get that sort of shot of him picking up the car keys close up. So what you would do is you'd basically find a moment of action, which is essentially that bit of actually grabbing the keys, and you'd use that as the cutting point. Because for some reason that little joining up of those two actions,
is around
2 shots of the same action, kind of gets you over the cognitive bump of the edit. And what you can do is if the actions that you're editing on are bold enough, you can sort of get over that cognitive bump of the 180-degree rule if you have no alternative, and you don't want to break it.
Translation: you're the director. You can do whatever the hell you want. This is an art form.
Damn straight.
Don't cut together though.
We won't edit.
In the meantime,
Yeah.
A wonderful stay.
Oh, Maxima, I saw just the same thing the other day. Is it verisimilitude or synchronicity where you learn about something new? That is the... We've landed, by the way. We got some...
Oh, we're officially at the JFK airport.
We got some achievements as well. We are. I think we're taxiing... Yeah, we're still taxiing. What was I going to say? Beta-Meinhof syndrome. Beta-Meinhof syndrome is the thing that happens where if you learn something new or you hear a new word, that's usually the context of it, is that if you learn... You're right there, Sel. You're getting a little...
Yeah, I was playing. The air sickness finally got to me.
Fair enough. I think there's a bag. Hang on.
Fantastic. Hold on. Oh, yep, right here. Hold on, I got it.
Oh, no, that's a magazine. Don't want that. There you are. Excellent. Better out than in.
Anyways, you were saying.
Yes, beta minor, which is if you happen to learn a new word, like I don't know, penultimate, and then you might over the next few days hear the word penultimate being used frequently, to such a point you think, how did I never know? But it can relate to other things as well. The excellent book House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski, I think that's how you say it, refers to the book Where the Wild Things Are, which is a book that I'd never heard of, and I'd assumed that it was something that had been created for House of Leaves, and then suddenly Where the Wild Things Are was everywhere over the next few days. And if you've read House of Leaves, you can imagine that that just freaks one the heck out. It really does. But
I remember they made a Where the Wild Things Are movie.
Yes, they did.
And I did not see it, but I saw the trailers.
Yeah.
And the trailer reminded me that monsters are real. That was a terrifying trailer.
Yeah.
I live with a demon.
Yeah. You don't really want to have that to contend with. It's funny that they never did a film of the book that he did about the kid having a nighttime adventure in the nip. They never did that one, did they? Same writer.
Probably not.
Yeah. I blame culture.
Well, I don't know, man. When you see, like, I took a Spanish class along. Fun fact,
Yeah.
I technically am I was at some point a few credits away at a community college from getting a bachelor's in Spanish.
Wow. Can you?
Would you like to know? No, I can't speak Spanish at all.
Oh, okay, fine.
Would you like to know what happened?
Yes, please. Wait, hang on. Was the guy in front of you a really good student and you memorized his phone number?
Yes, exactly what it was. No.
No, do it.
I worked illegally as a bartender,
Okay.
and I there used to be a concert that would take place across the street from this bar. And so the first time I took a Spanish class, I took a Spanish class during the summer months, because I was like, I only need to pretend I know Spanish for 3 weeks instead of 4 months. So I was like, this will be perfect.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not how that works. It just means they push 4 months into 3 weeks, which means you have to learn faster, which means that all these other kids walked in and were like, Me llamo Billy. And I was in there like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So my teacher frequented those concerts. And when she was done, she would come in to the bar I worked at, and I recognized her. I was like, hey, I know you. You teach my class. And she was like, I sure do. And she was like, you suck at Spanish. And I was like, you're goddamn right I do. I was like, how about a free drink because you're my teacher? And so I gave her a free drink, and then the next week she came back to the bar, and I go, hey, how's it going? And I slid her a free drink, and I was like, nice to see you. And she went off to go mingle with whoever. And then the next week, her and a friend came up, and I was like, I get the feeling I see where this is going. And so I sent her and her friend a free drink, and they went off to go do whatever. And I started making 80s on all of my tests across the board. I never got higher and I never got lower, but I always got an 80.
Beautiful, beautiful.
It made me laugh because I knew I was failing those tests. There was nothing about me that knew what those tests were. So at the end of the year, the way that they decided whether you passed that specific class was you went in and they would have you talk to the teacher in Spanish for like 5 minutes. And as long as you could keep up a conversation, you passed.
Yeah.
I walked in and I went, me llamo Sal y trabajo cerveza. And she was like, how are you, Sal? And I talked to her in English for 5 minutes and she goes, thanks for coming by. And I left and I got 100 on it and I passed her class.
Good God.
And then the way I got the rest of the credits is she emailed me and was like, join my classes because I need people to be in them. And there's not enough people in them. I need a few more. You're a person. Come take my class. So I took the class and I sat in there and I didn't understand Spanish because from that point forward, she only spoke in Spanish in her class. So she'd come in, I think she used to say, there used to be a kid in the front of the class. And so she'd come in and say something, something, and she would always call him mijo. And I learned that meant like nephew or something like that. And I was like, that doesn't make sense to me. But so she always called him mijo. But so I sat in the back of her class, kept my mouth shut, didn't understand a word she said for 3 months, and I'd always end her class with like a C+, just enough to pass to make it to her next class. And I ended up leaving via Spanish before I finished it out. I figured having a degree in Spanish wasn't going to be good for me if it ever came up in conversation.
Beautiful. I don't speak any Spanish, but I learned a little Spanish from reading Cormac McCarthy novels. So for a brief period of time, if your horse was dying in the rain, I could talk about that. But that was about it. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Sal, we've arrived. If Blue Jumper over here ever gets up, we might actually be able to get off this plane.
I really hope he hurries. My wife is giving birth, so I'm trying to get...
Yeah. Call back. I do like a callback. Structure, innit? Structure.
Well, I think if anyone says anything about us here at the Oddball Show, we're a very structured show. We like our rigid lines.
Yeah. Definitely. That's what I like. I could look at the calendar, look at me watch, and know exactly whether you're streaming or not, and also exactly what's going on on the stream at that exact moment. I don't really have to watch at all. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant system. It's a very good system.
Yeah. I've been trying to make sure it's that way for our viewers since day one. The less of us you have to watch, the more successful I consider myself having been.
Definitely. It's just more efficient. Can we get a shout out actually for the Oddball Show? It's the Oddball Show. Not Oddball Show. That sends you somewhere else. Just the Oddball Show. The Oddball Show. Because we've you've been doing the old Dungeons and Dragons. It says there in chat.
Yes, Steven finished up his unfortunately, he came in the other night and he was all pissed off, but he was also kind of like happy about it, but he was mainly pissed off. He was like, I died in my Dungeons and Dragons game. I was like, what the hell happened? He goes, I tried to kill my whole party.
Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah, apparently he's been plotting it for weeks, and he thought he had a perfect chance last night. And blew up in his face, as it generally does.
Good. Evil never triumphs. Yeah. Except when it does, obviously. Frequently. Right. Well, we've pretty much reached the end. I've ordinarily we'd raid, but I feel like this isn't sort of a raid format. Much like when we get Needle on. Did you? We've got Needle doing shows for us now.
I was there. I have purpose.
Yes. Oh, yes, you do, don't you? That's exciting. Yes. I wonder what we.
First time I've heard that from anything, living or non, in a long time. So
yeah. We're not quite sure which category Needle falls into with that regard. But no, that was good. That was good. So yes, we're not going to raid, but I'd just like to thank everybody for joining us. I'd like to thank Sal for being our sort of asset guinea pig tonight. Sorry about the echoes. It was all silly. It was all me being an oaf. So we should be able to sort that out for next time. Yes. So thanks to Ian Curtains and Orange Spark for moderating. Thanks to Steve Kirby for making me the man I am today. Yes. We're going to be doing this probably on the last Sunday of every month. Although we've not got a guest lined up yet, so that's exciting. But yes, we will be back on Tuesday with some Elite Dangerous. And Oddball, when are you? Oddball, Sal, when are you next on?
Depends on if I can find something to do with my life in the next hour.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay.
We'll have tonight.
Okay.
Generally, though, bet on Friday nights and Saturday nights and whenever I feel like it. I don't have a set schedule. I haven't been doing it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But we did that whole bit just now. But,
If there's one thing, it's I love undercutting the truth that you have laid down to your audience.
Thank you. Yes, breaking the truth. So yes, we've got an end card, which I haven't buttoned up. Ooh, hello. So yes, thank you once again for coming along tonight. I hope you can make it along to another one of these soon. Thank you again also to Red Munchkin for the raid and for all those new follows that came in. And yes, fly safe. Let me see you. Oh, hang on. No. Till we meet again, fly safe, and I shall see you in the black.